from a president who has already sought foreign interference in the 2016 and 2020 elections and who consistently puts himself above country. That is why we must act now.
The full Democratic-led House is expected to vote as early as next week. If they get the votes, the impeachment trial will then be taken up by the Republican-led Senate.
Meanwhile, the city of Battle Creek is preparing for President Trump's visit next Wednesday. The city manager says they're expecting thousands, both inside and outside Kellogg Arena. City manager says law enforcement will be handling security. They've also talked about using shuttles to get people around. And parking locations should be established by the end of the week. Now, the city is doing the best they say they can to accommodate everyone.
We have to ensure the safety of everybody that comes here. The president's campaign team and the people that come to the rally, and then our own neighbors here in Battle Creek. But we also know we have people with disabilities. How do we get them to and from the Kellogg Arena? We want to make sure that we're considering all things when we establish parking.
So if you'd like to attend this rally, just buy tickets on the Trump campaign website.
The IRS has a reminder for you before you make any more holiday purchases. Don't count on using your tax return to pay it all off. The agency says most refunds won't be ready until the end of February at the earliest, and that's if you file right away. If you're getting the earned income or additional child tax credits, it will take even longer. Those won't be processed until mid-February, and your refund won't be issued without those credits. Typically, it takes at least 21 days from the filing date for refunds to go through. The IRS will start accepting returns at the end of January.
Breaking now from Fox 17 News.
Well, breaking right now, fire crews are investigating after a fire at a hotel that's been temporarily closed by city leaders.
Savannah Fish live now outside the Econo Lodge in Battle Creek with a look at the damage. Savannah.
That's right. Good morning to the both of you. We are here in Battle Creek at the Econo Lodge. And to tell us a little bit more about the fire that took place last night around 9:30, I have the Battle Creek Fire Chief. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing very, very well. Thank you.
So could you just give us a breakdown, a timeline briefly of when this fire took place? What did the damage look like when you guys first arrived?
Okay. The fire call came in about 9:30 last night for a reported structure at this location. The initial crews arrived on scene. There was light smoke showing, no active fire showing at that particular point in time. Okay. We deployed all of our resources. We begun a very aggressive interior attack. Due to the fact of the weather, there may have been vagrants or homeless folks that were looking to take shelter inside of the structure. Right. Once we gained access to the interior of the structure, we rapidly found that there was deteriorating conditions on the inside. There seemed to be fire in the void spaces. And as we continued to search not only for possible victims, but also for the seat of the fire. About 30 minutes into the firefight, the fire began to breach the roof, meaning that it actually vented through the roof. Okay. At that particular point in time, this was about 30, 45 minutes in, so we're thinking 10, 15, 10, 20. We had a mayday for one of our firefighters that was low on air in his self-contained breathing apparatus. Okay. So we activated our mayday protocol. We pulled everyone out of the structure. We were able to clear the mayday, assist that firefighter to get to the exterior, and then we transitioned to a defensive operation with an elevated master stream and a ground master stream as we took a surround and drown position to extinguish this fire.
So good news, nobody was injured in this fire. But one interesting component to all of this is that the hotel was actually in its first day of a 90-day shutdown for some compliance issues between the owner and the city. Are you looking at this fire as suspicious, or does the timing of this cause any concerns?
Well, the timing definitely raises concern, but right now it's way too early in the investigative process to connect the two. Okay. So we will continue to process this fire scene during the course of the day, probably the remainder of this week, as we look to develop a nexus between the actual date of the close down, the compliance issues with the owners, and the timing of this particular fire.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Chief. As far as the rest of the scene goes right now, it looks like they are just boarding up the building, making sure that there's no entry as, again, this investigation continues. Of course, we'll be here throughout the morning, so make sure you stay with Fox 17 for all of the latest updates. But for now, live in Battle Creek, Savannah Fish, Fox 17 News.